No photos of today's activities. The highlight for me was doing the laundry at 7:30 in the morning. For Pat it was once again winning at hearts. Pat went to the morning lecture to listen to the astronaut Hoot Gibson. He's flown in the Reno air races a number of times and Pat's checked him in on a few occasions. Billy spent part of her day putting the Turk's Head anklets on Pat and me. It's 7 o'clock and looks like we're heading into some bad weather. As Corey mentioned in his log, the outdoor decks were closed during the day because of high winds. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Are you having a good cruise?
Yes, yes.
It's around 6:30 on the morning of Saturday the 12th of April and we're making our way to Oranjestad in Aruba. Welcome to Aruba and its capital, Oranjestad. After looking around town a bit, we negotiated a good deal on a bus tour of the island. $12.50 a piece. If we booked a similar tour on the ship, it would have cost around $60 each. Our driver guide was very good, informative, and obviously proud of her country. Here are a few shots we took as we drove through the countryside. One of the main island attractions was the natural bridge. Unfortunately, it collapsed in 2005. Having said that, the area is still worth a visit, and there's still standing the baby natural bridge.
Wow, beautiful. Okay folks, it's time to head back to the bus and continue with our tour. On our return journey, our guide dropped us off at Eagle Beach. We went to pay for the trip, but she said no, she'd return in about an hour and we could pay when we got back to Oranjestad. Very trusting.
There's that darn bistro sticker again. Pat and I went back to the ship while Billy and Corey checked out more of Oranjestad. In the afternoon we relaxed on our balcony and Corey and I made a valiant attempt at making sure there'd be no scotch left in the bottle by the end of the cruise. Around 5:30 we waved bye-bye to Aruba. In the morning Pat challenged me to a game of shuffleboard. If my memory serves me right, I think I won. Later in the day, Corey and I entered the shuffleboard tournament. We were on different teams. Neither of us won, but we made a decent account of ourselves against the German professionals. Billy kept insisting that she should be credited with the distance Queen Victoria had travelled, as well as a 3-mile deck walk. We didn't play chess, but the 4 of us did enter the quoits competition. Corey and I reached the semi-finals, but once again those German professionals beat us. After all that activity and excitement, it was tea time in the Queen's room. Then it was off to the cabin for another wee droppy before getting ready for tonight's formal evening. It was a top hat affair because tonight was the Ascot Ball. Don't those ladies look very elegant with their Ascot hats? After dinner we met up with Ian and June for a drink in the pub before going to the comedian singer show in the theatre. We finished off the evening at the Ascot Ball. Monday the 14th of April. This is what the Caribbean Sea looks like a few minutes after sunrise. We're about an hour and a half from Georgetown, Grand Cayman. Around 7:45 the island came into view, and so did a few other cruise ships. We'll be going ashore by tender today, and while we had breakfast the crew got the launches ready for us. By 10 o'clock it was all ashore who's going ashore. Welcome to Georgetown. Yes, the water really is that colour. Once again we negotiated a private bus tour. I think we paid $20 each this time. Still, that's much cheaper than the $70 we would have had to have paid if we booked a similar tour from the ship. Our 2-hour tour started off with a brief stop in front of the old homestead, one of the most photographed homes in the Cayman Islands. We then drove around the busy streets of Georgetown and our guide pointed out interesting places like Burger King, KFC, Diamond International and the Duty Free Centre. Next we drove north on West Bay Road that parallels the famous 7 Mile Beach. Unfortunately the entire beach is hidden from view by hotels and resorts. However, our guide did point out their names for us as we passed by them. We did make a stop at the Government House. It's not open to the public, but our guide said we could take a photo of the gates through the bus windows. Here's another one of those commercial buildings that was pointed out to us. We did eventually get to see 7 Mile Beach from a distance. We pulled into West Bay Dock, and as you can see, it was not the most attractive of places. Our journey continued on through a nondescript residential area before arriving at hell. I think it's fair to say that this souvenir shop is a bit of a tourist trap. However, we took a few photos of the lava formations that give the place its name. Back on the road to our next destination. And that was the Tortuga Rum and Rum Cake Factory, where we jostled with other tourists to get our free sample. Corey went off and explored the nearby Macabuca Bar. We should have gone with him and paid for a drink. The last stop on our tour was Dolphin Discovery, where we watched children swim on the back of trained dolphins. I believe it costs about $170 to participate and includes a visit to the nearby turtle farm, which we didn't go to. There wasn't much to see on our return journey, and our guide once again pointed out places like jewelry shops, hairdressing salons and hotels. Billy and Corey decided to get off the bus at this cemetery and visit 7 Mile Beach. From my commentary, I think it's obvious we were not overly impressed with this tour. However, in fairness to Grand Cayman, I have to say that we only saw the western side of the island. Also, I'm sure Grand Cayman would be an excellent destination for those primarily interested in water sports such as scuba. The waters are beautiful and crystal clear. We pulled up anchor around 4:30 and headed back out into the blue waters of the Caribbean Sea. We had a drink in the Lido bar and listened to the band as we said farewell to Grand Cayman. Tuesday the 15th and the last full day aboard Queen Victoria. No photos of today's activity, so I'll give you a bit of time to glimpse over Corey's log. As you can see, today followed the routine of previous at-sea days, but I did win at hearts. Last night was a full lunar eclipse, but I didn't get up to see it. This was taken around 5 a.m. Our cruise is coming to an end. We pulled into Port Everglades about 5 a.m. and the disembarkation process got underway around 7. We said goodbye to Billy and Corey and then went on our separate ways. They drove to Miami for their flight to Livongo, and we went to Fort Lauderdale Airport for our first class United flight back to Reno.